Hey, it's Mark. Gonna do a quick video here. I traded Snap today. I traded the puts. Like I just saw that I was looking at it like a couple weeks ago, and it was just straight up for a while, and it just looks really overbought, in sort of a short timeline. Like it took out that major level there. Like you can see it touched that level one, two, three, like four times basically. Well, it just kind of rested there around earnings, and that was a big level, like a 1250 that it took out, and it actually goes back pretty far. It looks like it goes back to September or August of 2022. So what it did yesterday was it printed a shooting star candle right there, and I saw that. I just happened to look at the stock that day, so I was like, well, that could be a signal that that's the short-term top. So we can look at it. I think on the Bollinger Bands it was pretty close to being above a print above it too, which is sort of like the nail in the coffin. But I traded it and I put a really tight stop loss on it, which I usually don't do. Like I think my goal for the options is like a 50, 40% stop loss, because that usually works pretty well with my oil trades when I trade USO. Because usually you get some pretty good outlier moves, like 100 to 200%, gains. And I mean, as you can see if you watch the videos, that's pretty much kind of like what a good gain is for me, 1 or 200% or more. So unfortunately, I stopped out of that because it was just really choppy all day. But I'll probably, if it's red tomorrow, I'll think I'll put them on again. I was just looking at the 1450s, like 2 weeks out, just because it's either gonna pull back or it's not here. So that's kind of the trade. You can see like it'd be really nice if it would break some uptrend momentum, on that crack. Like looks like that's the uptrend it's in now, basically. So it actually needs to hit take out the 1450 really to be a crack. I was kind of front running it in a little bit anyway, but I usually wait for a signal if it's not a super. This isn't like a super tested pattern for me, but it's basically a supernova on just like a longer time frame. So yeah, that reminds me of the other supernova. I found another one today. This DERM is interesting. Like did one of those rounding bottoms, and then had levels that it took out right there, major levels. And it's not really, it's hard to tell. I wouldn't call it supernova, but it's just been up like a lot of days in a row. And last time it did that, it had a nice drop. So, and it's above the upper Bollinger Band too. So that's a good short watch, really. Like the CHSN is just keep blowing through here. These can keep going and going. Like I said before, especially these Chinese ones, they'll just keep going forever, it seems. But eventually they do crash. Like today is that one. What was the one that crashed today? Yeah, that golden one. I don't know, there's so many of them now. I can't even think of the ticker off the top of my head, but one of them was down like 100% today. And the one I talked about yesterday too, the MLGO, that one crashed. It basically did what that GHCN or whatever that Chinese one did today too. So that looks like a bear raid. That's a bear raid for sure. And yeah, that was like, I really thought it was probably gonna gap down, but sometimes they just gap up and then they fade. But it's usually, if it's a supernova, it's probably one of those two things really. But so unfortunately, well, I don't really short intraday anymore. So If it had puts, I would have traded it, but hopefully it didn't because that was a big miss if I did miss it. If it had puts, I really doubt it does though. But so yeah, I was looking at the oil. You can do the energy. I put out a watch list of a bunch of energy stocks. I put out like some of my favorite ones, and one of the ones that just been the weakest was this AR, and you can see it's got a lot of days in a row it's had in the past where it's just red after day. Like a lot of these are just kind of choppy where they kind of follow oil more and they're not really consistent faders. Like even back here, back in September, it did that too. Just a lot of red days in a row. And I was looking at that yesterday and I saw that and I was like, well, there's a pretty good chance it's gonna, keep doing another red day. Or if it's a red day, it's probably gonna be another red day. So the shorts are really in control in this one. There's just a lot of somebody's dumping, and I was just kind of looking for one of these that might just like spiral down, with oil. And it's not even at support yet. It's still got about, what is that, $20? Yeah, about 20 on the dot is 20.02. Yeah, 20 bucks is a really good support level, so it's actually close to that now. But this one, that's a really good one on the short side. Look at all the sell volume too. There's a lot of sell volume. So, and the other ones like Rig's been pretty good. Excuse me, Rig's been pretty good at trading with oil. Like I was long Rig puts like 2 weeks ago or so. Like I bought the puts like here when I saw this triangle, and it looks like the triangle actually played out, and I think I might have had weeklies or I was just impatient and just took the profits, but I can't remember if that was a good trade or not, but I guess I was way early because that triangle played out there. And Rig's a good one too. Sometimes it trades really well, like a lot of down days there. So I wouldn't be surprised really if it's down more. Well, it looks like we got support there at about 15 cents lower. Seems like it actually touched support there. That's what it held, basically. So that was one of the ones, and I kind of just sorted these now by the ones that were actually red today. Helix was green. Yeah, that one's way too choppy anyway. I'm gonna take that one off. Some of these are actually solar stocks, but the BTE's been a nice dropper. Like there's the channel right there. Yeah, it just took out that level there. It just after it took that level out, it just hasn't stopped. And I'm pretty sure all of these have options. I haven't checked the AR. I think that one has options too. I just kind of was looking at the volume. It's got a lot of volume, so the other one was WTI. This one's a pretty good dropper too. And these are all pretty much just trading in sympathy with oil for the most part, but these are actually a lot more, like the relative strength was even less than oil. Because if I'm not mistaken, oil has actually been choppier than a lot of these. Yeah, let's see oil's kind of was choppy back there. So yeah, it looks like it's finally gonna catch a bounce here. So I'm gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to wait before I put any of these stocks on. I just didn't trade the oil ones today. I didn't really look at my watch list today and stuff. And I guys looked at a couple oil stocks and like oil was kind of choppy, so I decided not to trade them. But the AR would have been a good one, or like a lot of the ones I was looking at really. This one was an interesting one too, because yesterday it had this really nasty candle, this really long red candle, and it's a midstream, and the sell volume is just like just a ton of sell volume on these past couple of months here, on these days. So that one, man, that was a good one too, and MRO actually trades more like oil. Let's see, I think I had a level there, so let's see how far that goes back. Uh, yeah, that's a decent level there. Yeah, it looks like it's breaking that. Could be a bull trap right there. So yeah, that's pretty much. Well, there's a lot more oil ones that we could look at, but those are some of the interesting ones today. And I just realized that Tops has been going. The one of these shippers. Let's look at shippers real quick. So look at the GLBS is still going too. Wow, yeah, that one's crazy. And I just noticed a minute ago Tops is going again. It's kind of like a triangle pennant there. And looks like it had pretty good volume today too. It must be a squeeze. It just seemed like a squeeze, but because usually this one doesn't go. I mean, last time it went was years ago, like really went. Like all these shippers, they just kind of hang around. Like back in like 2000, was it 17 or 18? Was the maybe 16? There was a big short squeeze and big rally in these shipping stocks back in the fall, like around Thanksgiving. I think it did it 2 years in a row too, and pretty much they all went. Was like dry ships was really the big one. Like dries was the leader really. It always seems to be in the fall, in the fall time or in the winter time when these things run. I mean, it's really like I wouldn't say trying to use like seasonality with stocks is pretty futile, but when it comes to these dry bulk shippers, it's it's probably the one sector that it's actually it's pretty reliable if you start looking for setups in the fall and winter. Excuse me, and so yeah, a lot of these are having pullbacks like the good ones. I mean, ships always moving too with relative strength. Yeah, these could be pullbacks. I mean, they look pretty. It looks like the way the volume's kind of light, sell volume. These might be pullbacks. I think GOGL is probably one of my more favorite ones with the fundamentals. They've done pretty well over the years. And the SBLK. I went through like literally all of them like 2 years ago just to look at the fundamentals and how they their growth and stuff. And pull back an FR and FRO. Yeah, so that's those. And yeah, what was I gonna check the AR see if that one had options? I think that one. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, the Antera Resources, the oil stock. Yeah, it's got some the $20 strike puts for a couple weeks out are good. Like I have a hunch the oil is just gonna continue, but it may be time for a little bear flag or something to come up. Let's look at the levels though. See what we got. Yeah, like 67. 67 is basically the next level down. So it'll probably hit that because it trades pretty well on technicals. usually, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're there soon. Yeah, if it fails to rally here. But it looks like the night session here is pretty good. It's caught some bids there. And looks like the Adobe kind of is trying their. Yeah, let's look at the indices. So yeah, the IWM came up to that resistance and it's just kind of hanging around now. Like it's kind of it doesn't really look super bearish. And I was expecting like a really good range day, like a down day to sort of signify that it's top there. Yeah, and the KRE just kind of it's just riding the upper resistance level. So it's not done yet. It might not be done yet either too. Cause it's really got to get some like the past 4 days it's been it's trending upward. So it's a good thing I didn't put any puts on that because I was thinking of it on that print there. So let's look at some of the other leading stuff. Like so what Nasdaq's been. Yeah, Nasdaq's still hanging on there too a little bit. Like I would have expected more of a really good red day if it was gonna trend lower. It may just go sideways for a while. Seems pretty. So it looks like it wants to do it really. Same with SMH and Hood, still hanging in there right around that level. It very well may just bust through and just make that new support. But my trade is over in that one pretty much. So Sand's hanging in there lower. It's trending lower slowly. So that uptrend momentum broke right there. And it kind of reminds me of the SoFi because I was looking at that. Like it's got a clear downtrend. It's in like a downtrend, right? And then I'll just finish that line there, and then it broke above it, but then it's got that weird print there, so made me think it's gonna come back because it pretty much caught resistance there too, like at that level. So the thing with SoFi is they got all these student loans, all these college loans, and that could have an impact. It's not, there's a certain percent they can mark down and stuff, but it's something that could impact them. We don't know how bad it's going to be. If the economy does soften up, So there's like a lot of sell volume too around in the past couple months. But I was kind of looking at that as more like just because I was weak, I was kind of bearish on financials. But let's see what the XLF is doing. Wow, there's a level I drew from way back that it touched off of. See, I drew that level there like months ago. And so we're at the top of the range now. See this big wide channel right there. So we kissed off of that level 3 times now. So this is an interesting watch too, because that may be the top there for a while if we can't bust through it. Yeah, if we go red tomorrow, looks like it's probably going to keep pulling back, and then there's like a lot more downside that it could get to like $30 bucks. and that any printed they actually printed a doji above the upper Bollinger Band, so I'm really inclined to think it's gonna just pull back here. You know, as long as Bitcoin doesn't surprise upward real quick. Looks like Bitcoin's pulling back now too. So this one's a Bitcoin miner, so it's probably gonna trade with Bitcoin. I put on some Bido puts today, because it finally had a consolidation. So I was thinking, it might just turn to like a bear flag, or a bull flag. So I did some speculative like undersized puts here on the Bido ETF, the Bitcoin ETF, just for like a couple day pullback. It looks like it's time to rest for it. And the HEPS, this one might keep going. Like that just looks like a flag right now. It's kind of flagging because it broke this pennant there, and it was up off earnings. So if it breaks out, that's a good setup. And I think my JMIA, I still got calls on this one, like more undersized, like for $4 strike. So it's got to get moving here. I think it's like the expire this week, so those are probably gonna be bad. But looks like, see, it's actually doing a triangle there. Whether or not that breaks up or down, we'll see. But it's got a nice consolidation there. I might switch to puts, if this triangle breaks down, because these triangles are really good setups. Let's make sure we got the levels here right. So it's probably going to be like that level there. And yeah, so it's probably got a day or two before it decides. But hopefully for me, it just breaks out tomorrow and hits like $5. But so yeah, even natural gas is going down with oil. So it took out a lot. It took out that natural gas just took out that key support level. See that bottom level there, support's been going for since summertime. If I'd seen that, I would have put puts on Ampy's. I think Ampy's one of my more favorite with that natural gas. It follows nat gas pretty close. But yeah, I'll just call it a wrap there. At least we look at TLT because I was looking at that one a lot too. The TLT, yeah, it's still going up too, like holding that. It's kind of riding the uptrend channel resistance there. But it looks due for a pullback too. I mean, it's probably gonna pull back here. But I'm more interested in it on the long side, off support. So yeah, I'll just call it a wrap there, and catch you later.